We have a previews guide and an omnibus that are trending this week. Let's get into it. Another week, another list, an Overstreet Price Guide advisor. My homie Russ Bright, how you feeling?
I am fantastic. And yes, looking at the list over on Key Collector was really strange this week because I had the appearances of a couple things I was not expecting.
Hit the like, slap the subscribe button. We're here every single week for the comic family, making sure that we can cover the trending comics to keep you up to date. At the list at number 10, we have Detective Comics 1063. We have a 1 in 25 variant that was created by a legend.
Yoshitaka Amano is known around the world for all of the Final Fantasy design, and the fact that they worked on this comic book, amazing. $40 average sales. We saw a $60 high sale for a pre-sale on August 3rd, and right now after release, it's settled to around $50 for highs.
When Yoshitaka Amano does a cover, it's a big deal. Heck, Wizards of the Coast tries to put him on as many cards as possible because when he does work, it crosses demographics. You know, you got the video game market, their Final Fantasy lovers, and the comic fam that comes in with the heat. I'll remind the community, back when DC left Diamond Distribution, they released this Harley Quinn cover of the artist that was a banger then, one per store. That's still a banger now.
Now, as far as this ratio variant goes, it is very atypical from what you would expect on this Detective Comics. Absolutely stunning and well worth the adulation. And for those of you that are actually reading the comic books, the new Detective Comics run is incredible.
Ram V,
Ram
baby.
V just took over and coming hot off his Swamp Thing run is still hitting out of the park on every single one of these detective issues.
Get up on your tech comics because he's only a couple issues in and people are raving about it. At the list at number 9, a comic book no one was specking on that I suspect is still in those dollar bins. The con season isn't over yet, comic fam. Get to it. We have Trespasser issue number 1 that debuted in 2017 in comic books but came out a year earlier on Comixology when no one was really reading comics off that app.
Now, while Comixology is now a household name, this is before Scott Snyder joined. This is before Eris Quinones joined. Back in the day, 5 years ago, people were not really on the Comixology app. It was kind of a new idea. So this comic, Trespasser, did not get anywhere near the amount of love that we would have expected. We are seeing $5 average raw sales on this one, a recent high raw sale of $75. When it's listed on eBay, they go immediately, and these buy it now prices keep creeping up.
Now, we typically report on the increase in copies sold week over week because that's what lands comics on the trending list. It's what makes them trending, right? People are starting to scoop them up more now than they did weeks prior. Well, last week, there were 0 copies sold of this comic book. We have no percentage to report on because no one was specking on this book.
Now, there is only one CGC 9.8 on the census with no reported sales. There are no copies of number 2, 3, or 4 on the census. This is a really tough book, but we have news that this has been optioned by Endeavor Content and we have a director attached.
This comic takes you to a post-apocalyptic future, very Last of Us vibes. We have a father and daughter just trying to survive, and they trap an alien. And what they do to that alien is disturbing. This right here is headed for the screen. Keep an eye out for those later issues, because if members are having a hard time finding issue 1s, imagine how low of print the issue 1 is, and how low 2, 3, and 4 must be.
And this is why you have to have your Key Collector alerts on, because the people who were paying attention when this came out with the option news immediately knew to go to eBay and check out their stores in those cheap bins.
Key Collector Comics is a free application. You can catalog your comic books, get suggested pricing, learn about key books, and so much more. But if you pay for the service, use code TOM101 to unlock a free 2-week subscription to try it out. No obligation to keep it after that. You will receive key alerts. When the news breaks, Key Collector Comics is on it to let you know so you can get to specking, so you can decide if you want to put money down on an affordable book that may move up in price. This book was low print, but the next one, Not so much.
Oh my gosh. This one seems like they knew what they were doing, and it turned out it wasn't a bad idea this time. Number 8 on the list, previews number 408. Guys, it's this one. This is the brand new previews catalog that was released this week. This is available at your stores, and most shops will give them to you for free, but maybe not after they figure out why we're talking about it.
Let's tell them what a previews guide is if you don't have an LCS, comic fam. This right here is what comic stores order so that customers can go through and start shopping. There's multiple different publishers on the inside of this, and it's just solicitations. This is a free book. Large amount of these get thrown away every single month.
They absolutely do. And this is like 800 pages of everything you didn't know you ever need. And it has previews. It tells you what the books are. You can get your pop figures and your statues in the back of it. But I can tell you in the last year and a half, a lot of my customers have started transitioning away from the physical book and started ordering on Previews World, the website. That's awesome for digital, but when they do something like this and give you a preview of a comic book, this becomes a first appearance.
This previews is hitting $25 average sales. If you're patient, you can get it for between 10 and 20 bucks. There's a lot of these that exist. Bad Idea is a publishing company that does direct distribution to the retailers. They don't use diamond distribution like most of the industry, except for DC and Marvel. And they put a comic book on the inside of their previews catalog, a catalog that will likely never sell in solicitation any Bad Idea comics. So this is multiple layers of strange. And not only that, Bad Idea teamed up with David Latham and Mark freaking Wade to write and create an 8-page original story that specifically talks about the ruckus of first appearances, the layers.
This is so funny. It's called The First Supper. This is the first appearance of 12 different characters, and all of them are talking about the confusion between all of the first appearances, true first appearances, cameo first appearances. There's even a build-up about, I don't even want to talk about the Wolverine thing anymore. This is absolutely hilarious, and the fact that it's just so tongue-in-cheek, it's so meta. We know we've seen previews before that have spiked well after the fact, because 2 or 3 years later, someone finds out, oh, this is a first appearance of some dude that happens to be in a thing, and the market is built. This one, immediately out the gate, we know what it is. They're making fun of themselves being in a first appearance in a previews. I love this. This is a great thing.
Tongue-in-cheek, to say the least. They took the first appearance and put it in a previews catalog, the one place that could cause the most stir in the community, but also at the same time make previews one of the largest tools to order comic books more relevant than they've been in over a damn decade. Well done, Bad Idea. At the list at number 7, Batman 609. Debuted in 2003. We're talking about Hush seeing $40 average sales, a high 9.8 selling for $230 in August.
We also saw a CBCS 9.8 that was signature series with a Jim Lee signature for $375, and that was actually on the day of the announcement, 183% increase, because we have found out that Matt Reeves has been signed a multi-year deal and is going to be starting to work on the sequel to Robert Pattinson's Batman.
This right here is great news, especially with the slew of cancellations seemingly by the day being announced across the DC planning over the next few years. It looks like James Gunn's section of heroes that he is writing is safe, as well as Matt Reeves' Batman. That is good news to me.
Tom, this is the second Batman book on the list, and you're not dropping the most important information. I know you're itching to let the comic fam know.
We have teamed up with Carnivore Comics. New York City Comic-Con is in October, and I have officially received the books. So I feel like I can officially tell everybody that I brought Batman Beyond back to press with Gabriel Del Otto. We made 1,000 copies of a Virgin, 1,000 copies of a foil, and we're bringing them to New York City.
Oh, that's going to be absolutely incredible. I love Batman Beyond, and this variant is going to be incredible. Gabriel Del Otto just is amazing.
Make sure to follow me on Whatnot. Follow Carnivore Comics on Whatnot. Shout out Sean for helping make this epic team up happen. My first Gabriel Del Otto cover. Hot damn, comic fam.
Number 6 on the list, Black Cat Annual number 1. Now this is from June 2021, and we are seeing $18 average sales and a CGC high of $99. There are 48 9.8s on the census, and we are not seeing that many sales yet.
San Diego Comic-Con announcements still affecting comic books, making them trend in the marketplace. The Tiger Division, the Korean superhero team, was introduced largely all throughout 2021. It started with that Taskmaster miniseries and then led into the Black Cat Annual number 1, the comic that's making the list today. This right here is the first full team appearance of the super team. And this is all becoming important because in November, they're going to be getting their own solo series.
A 117% increase in copies sold this week. This is a popular team, and we have been talking about some of these members multiple times. I'm excited to see the General, the Enigma, Luna Snow, and White Fox have both been on our talking list because of the tie-ins for the Death of Doctor Strange miniseries that happened a little bit earlier this year. Keep in mind, there's also a 1-in-25 ratio variant done by Guile Sharp that has Black Cat front and center. But if you're looking for something really affordable, check out the second print of number 1 variant. This one looks, in my humble opinion, so much better because we have Taiguchi front and center.
Look out for this 5-issue series written by Emily Kim, debuting later this year. At the list at number 5. Now, we've already had one first on the list, talking about a brand new previews trending in the marketplace. And I think this right here is another first. We have an Omnibus making the list. Hot damn.
Now, normally when we're talking about Omnibus, you'd think it'd be Gem Mint because he's always bringing those hot Omnibus to the mic. But right now, number 5 on the list, Sandman Omnibus number 1. I feel like I can take the reins on this one. Oh my gosh, $225 average sales, a $450 high sale for an unwrapped copy on the 15th of August, and a sealed one on the same day for $405. The demand is massive for these Sandman books.
This right here is a giant 1,040-page hardcover collecting the first half of the Sandman series 1 through 37. Also includes the Sandman Special number 1 and had an original retail price of $150. And I happen to know that some of my homies got a good deal at release because back when this came out, people were not buying these out. Like, there was a lot of them left over, and some members got steals.
It's really a daunting book. You look at how thick it is. Anytime you have a 1,000-page book, people don't really want to grab that to read. So much so that 3 years after release, I remember this vividly, Diamond had a blowout sale in 2016 of all of their Sandman stuff. I actually think it was related to the fact that they found out that the movie was not going to be made as quickly as they had planned. So I was able to pick up this omnibus and all of the annotated and all of the large hardcovers at 25% of MSRP. I bought a copy of each just for my personal collection because I'm such a massive Sandman fan. So it's crazy to see how much these are selling for. It's still a 133% increase in copies sold over last week, but the price has almost doubled if you start looking at prices.
This right here shows that if an option status goes the opposite direction, if it shows that things are going to be delayed at all, that there are deals to be had in the comic marketplace. Be up on your LCS relationships, check in, because you never know when deals are going to be available. And I also found an interview with Neil Gaiman this past week talking about the success of the Netflix Sandman series. He was asked if he was interested in doing any original material, new material for the successful show. And he responded, essentially saying yes, but no, because there is so many pages of Sandman that have yet to been adapted that he is more interested in fulfilling what's already been done and bringing that to the screen before bringing anything new. Bottom line, we're not going to Game of Thrones it, comic fam.
So if you look at the Sandman oeuvre, everything that has been released for Sandman, it's pretty finite. But for this next issue, number 4, Star Wars High Repluic Adventures number 8. That's a universe that we keep exploring and expanding, and I, for one, am super excited.
They're not only exploring and expanding in comics, they're expanding in moving publishers. That's right, Star Wars High Repluic Adventures number 8 debuted in September 2021, $10 average sales. There are no CGC sales currently to report on for the main cover. There are 0 9.8s and 3 9.6s. And there is a 1 in 10 that's available that just hit a high of $85 in June.
This is the first appearance of Sav Maligan, who is a Jedi Master. And, like Tom mentioned, we are moving the High Republic adventures from IDW back to Dark Horse. Dark Horse now has an upcoming High Republic adventures, so we are bringing it back home. This is awesome.
We have the Jedi Master, Sav, shout out Illuminati, Maligan, who's getting their own 8-issue series exploring her past because a lot of the setup was new characters. And because of the era that this takes place in, it opens the doors for so many prior stories to be told. And they're going to be told at Dark Horse. And I got to know your thoughts as an LCS owner. Is this going to equate to more sales now that it's going to Dark Horse? Because I don't think a lot of Dark Horse comics are on many members' pull list, let alone the kid-centric books that are found at IDW that was largely being solicited that brought in most of the customers to begin with.
Now, IDW has been a great landing place for kid-centric intellectual properties. They've got Transformers, G.I. Joe, Sonic the Hedgehog, My Little Pony. I mean, there's a lot of great stuff that IDW has done.
TMNT, you know?
Totally. So for Disney to be able to release the Marvel Disney Kids type stuff on IDW, it made a bunch of sense. But I didn't have a lot of people buying them. All of the really diehard Star Wars people are buying the Marvel titles, not the IDW. And I really don't think even having it revert to Dark Horse is going to make these people buy it. We are going to end up with a Dark Horse run that is lower print, that is going to have higher demand, and the instant one of those characters shows up in a TV show or a series or an animated or whatever they're doing, we're going to see these new Dark Horse books spiking again.
This is nuts. We're essentially going full circle here, comic fan, because when Marvel acquired the rights to Star Wars, they essentially made all the Dark Horse Star Wars comics from years past relevant again, collectible again, whether they were canon or considered legends. And Dark Horse getting a Star Wars title again in their portfolio is going to be doing it all over again, but at least they're tied to Marvel this time.
Now, we talk about Star Wars books on this list fairly often, so when you see a 175% increase in copies sold in a kid's Star Wars book, you better pay attention.
Another thing that they need to be paying attention to, Russ, are the Easter eggs that are being found by the week in the Disney Plus shows. At the list at number 3, Sensational She-Hulk number 1, debuting in 1989 after a 5-year cancellation, coming back with a volume 2 back in the day. This is the second ongoing She-Hulk series, seeing $30 average sales and a 9.8 hitting above $200, landing at $225. This right here is a comic that used to sell for under $5 all year long, and because of this show, it's spiking up.
A 143% increase in copies sold, and this is a really fun cover. It's all pink, so it's tough because it gets a really bad color rub on it, but I love the fact that she's like, all right guys, let's try it again. Buy this book or I'm gonna come to your house and rip up all of your X-Men. It's really, really funny. Another thing that I think is specifically of note, every single copy I've seen graded, every single copy I have at the shop, every single copy I've touched has a barcode. I have not actually seen one that you would call a direct copy. I think they may all have a barcode. Anyone who has one that has something that's not a barcode on it, tag me on Instagram. I'd love to see it.
The sensei coming in with the astute observation. Very strange. I have never seen a direct market copy of this book.
Right.
And if you go on eBay, you're going to see a lot of people saying, get this newsstand version of the comic book. But this is a warning to the comic fam. Clearly, there is an absurd amount of newsstands of this book, so much to the point that, as you mentioned, we don't even know if there was anything other than a newsstand.
Right.
So buy with caution and take a look at this Easter egg that was found in the recent episode of She-Hulk. Spoiler warning, but the internet is going nuts.
So we see Jennifer Walters scrolling through some online pages and happens to see a link to another article that says, man fights with metal claws in bar brawl. I wonder what that means.
Comic fam, is this the first time we're seeing hints of the best Canadian superhero of all time being introduced to the Marvel Cinematic Universe? We're talking Captain Canuck.
Oh my gosh, Tom, we could talk about Nelvana, North North Star as well, but really, Wolverine takes the cake for being the best Canadian superhero.
And now we're at number 2 on the list. So hyped to see this book trending. I knew it had to be good news when I saw the list, and it is. Conan the Barbarian, issue 23, first appearance of Red Sonja, seeing $345 average sales and a 9.8 back in July, selling for $4,560.
A 325% increase in copies sold because we know that filming is scheduled to begin with Matilda Lutz in the main role. Now, that price for a 9.8 is super high, and I was looking at the CGC census. There are a bunch of 8.0 and above grades, but we're not seeing them hitting market. Right now, if you're looking for an affordable copy, we're seeing things in the 5.0 to 7.5 range going for $600 to $1,000. So if you really want one, pick it up now, but the high grade ones haven't even hit the market.
We have Matilda Lutz from the Rings sequel. We have Wallace Day from Batwoman. Could be good, but hold up. We have someone from Umbrella Academy.
For those of you who are fans of Umbrella Academy, Klaus Hargreaves himself, Robert Sheehan, will be in the new Red Sonja.
I have high hopes now, and if you enjoy what we do, hit the link in the description. Give me an excuse to send you comics every single month. I teamed up with John Boy Myers and made one of our best covers of all time, Invincible #1, full wraparound cover. We made trade dresses, virgins, limited color, and foils. One per box going out at random in the September mystery mail call. ComicTom101.com, link in the description. Support the show and hit him with the #1 trendy book of the week because I'm surprised to see it here.
Number 1 on the list, Meet the Skrulls #1. From 2019, $20 average sales, a high sale of $170 for a CGC 9.8.
This is the team appearance of the Warners, who is the family of Skrulls who are getting ready for the invasion, impersonating human beings. And we saw an increase of 588% in copies sold week over week. And the spec makes sense. It's affordable. However, this is a completely different direction that spec has been pointing to for over a year and a half, in particular for one actress that we're all anticipating to make a splash, a bang on the screen. We're talking about Emilia Clarke, who we have been speculating would play Abigail Brand, Spider-Woman, possibly the Skrull Queen.
Now, Varanki would have made sense. Queen of Skrulls, Queen of Dragons. I'm totally okay with that connection, but now we have a rumor that she could very well be playing Gloria Warner, who was first introduced in this 2019 miniseries.
It seems like a stretch because Emilia Clarke is an A-list actress, so why wouldn't they give her a major superhero or a major Skrull to portray? I want to remind the community that during Secret Invasion, there was a gotcha moment where we all believed Spider-Woman to be Jessica Drew when it was actually revealed to be a Skrull the whole time, the Skrull Queen. Maybe this right here is another type of moment that they're going to adapt to the screen. Maybe she looks like Gloria, but really is Queen Varangi.
What do you think about the previews and the omnibus on this list, comic fam? I know you all dig the comic books. Let us know in the comment section down below.
I want to know who your pick is for Emilia Clarke to portray on the screen. If you comment, it'll enter you to win this Omni-Man Invincible #1. We're shooting for 55,000 subscribers. We'll announce that very soon. And hit the like, slap the subscribe. And as always,
Geek responsibly.
enough said. Comic fam, join myself, this guy, and so many of my homies on the best new place to buy and sell collectibles. It's called Whatnot. We do dollar start auctions that last as little as 15 seconds long. We do convention coverage. We get exclusives, key books, giveaways, slabs, grails, and so much more. We're trying to bring the heat. Support us and so many other homies who make everything possible. And take a look at these 2 other videos. We made them for you. Have a great week.